Hello there. So, before we begin, and as you probably might have guessed by the title, what this video is going to be about, I want to pose a question before we, really get in there. How many expectations that have been put upon you throughout your life are ones that you have come to terms with, that you've actually put them upon yourself, just completely by yourself, no external factors at all? That is how I want to do this. So I truly think that I've spent my fair share of my, teeny tiny life up until now with, kind of falling in love with just the expectations. And I know it sounds weird and funny, but well, it's kind of me falling in love with expectations instead of just people or places or whatever you might fall in love with. Now, what expectations are the ones that I'm falling in love with? They're the ones that are literally disguised as advices, guidances, and just hoping in someone and hoping in yourself and like getting told this is how a good life is supposed to look like and be lived. I'm sure you've heard, like, you have to become this. Your sibling, your cousin, your relative, your friend, whoever, they're doing this, they are this, and you have to do it too. I know I have gone through my fair share of this throughout my childhood. You cannot do what you wish to do because you'll be behind in life no matter what. You have to do this. They're very valid concerns. Really, they are very, very valid. But at the same time, they're not valid or justified at all to the person that you're just throwing these words upon. And you know what the saddest part is? That I start dissolving these expectations into my mind, and my brain chemistry altered itself with every single unwarranted piece of advice or expectations that's just thrown onto me. And now, don't get me wrong, I started this video with saying that I love these expectations, and the title says this, maybe the thumbnail does too. Why do I love these expectations if what they sound like is just unwarranted pressure in my life? Having felt happy or loved only when people needed me is a different kind of experience that just molds you to be the person you currently are. And it's gut-wrenching, really is. But this thought has plagued me ever since. That was this what growing up actually meant? Collecting the expectations that other people have for me until they start to look like my own dreams. And maybe there might have been a version of me that's exactly the molded sculpture of other people's desires and wishes and needs. And maybe that sculpture might have been, or maybe more accomplished than what I am right now. Maybe they have a really good degree, the best career, amazing achievements, and just everything is perfectly right. And that expectation that, whatever I'm doing currently with my life right now, I'll have the best desired answer just already ready. And maybe, I have deviated a bit, but I kept walking towards these versions of myself. And in this process, I think I've left my own heart, my mind, and my soul just somewhere on that road, lost forever for all I know. And I still walk, soulless maybe, heartless even. And I'm not sure that if I want to meet that version of myself. But okay, let me not stray away from the topic, yeah? See, the thing is, when I say that all the expectations I've ever loved before, like I said, the feeling of being needed, the feeling that people can rely on me for that one specific thing, even if I've come to dislike it, I just keep on doing it, just for fulfilling their expectation of me, slowly chipping away a tiny piece of my soul, one by one. So little and tiny, maybe that piece was, I never even realized until there was just a huge chunk of me gone. And those chunks were the price I had to pay to love the expectations. And for the longest time, it felt like maps, reassurance, and the most most like love instead of the cage it actually was. Expectations. What a sword it is. Get it? Because sword, word, and then sword. Well, not this is knife, but you know what I mean, yeah? You end up dancing like a puppet, but the main problem is that you do it willingly. Someone tells you that you need to become successful because they want you to have a good life. And another person tells you to choose the safer option because they don't want you. They don't want you to just struggle. And someone else maybe comes in and tells you what exactly a respectable and a good life looks like, because that's the life they were taught to believe in. And you listen. Of course, you listen. You are young. You don't know yourself yet. You barely know anything at all. And you end up borrowing definitions from every single person who ever told you anything there is about, anything there is to living life. And you only eventually realize that a few career paths are respectable, others aren't. You cannot be something other than what people majorly are. Because how dare you be different? How dare you have a different perspective than anyone else? You have to follow and run in the timeline that people have set for you. And otherwise, you will be a failure. And another problem here is that when you finally get there, you're at the top of the mountain, you achieve what everyone else had been raging on about, everyone else had been telling you to achieve. You realize that the person that you were never ever started climbing that mountain. All there is on the top is a skeleton of what you used to be, bereft of everything that made you you. It's just a skeleton. You feel empty, as if nothing there is yours, because nothing there is yours. And that's when it hits you with a pang. Just like a shovel to your face. How lonely you become, even when you were surrounded with people and experiences that you love, or at least you thought you loved. But how do you mourn something that you were never even supposed to mourn? How do you tell someone, hey, I don't want the life that you spent years imagining for me, without making them feel like their love was just a waste? How do you admit that the dream that you were so proud of achieving was never your dream to begin with? And this is when I say, to all the expectations I've loved. I would love to emphasize on the word loved, past tense. Because if not fully, little by little, I am letting the foundational bricks fall. Even if they end up collapsing on my entire self, even if the roof come down. Because that would mean I could finally make a house of something of my own self, something I chose. I'll probably look at all these expectations, word by word. I'll annotate, I'll change and update this manifesto of myself and go through each one, asking myself, do I, as an individual, believe in this? Do I want to be impressive? Do I actually want to be ahead? Do I actually want the career that everyone keeps telling me that I want? Do I want to be the person that everyone can be proud of? Or simply, have I become the version of myself that's the best at receiving applause? You see, currently I don't have an answer to these questions, so if you got all hyped thinking I'll, provide you with an answer, tough luck. You have to figure it out on your own. And when you do, please let me know, because I don't have an answer myself. And but hey, there's one good thing. I feel that I may have it sooner or later, but at least I can walk on my own pace with this knowledge that, eventually I'll have the answer. And again, maybe I can say this with some kind of privilege. Maybe I have an emotionally stable environment, or maybe the environment has gotten used to my chaotic energy. Still trying to shape me, but knowing that I will resist, knowing that I won't. Or maybe there's this third option, that I finally got the courage to run away from the ecosystem that was residing inside of me, filled, that Pandora's box, the one with all the expectations. Maybe that's what I'm running away from. And maybe we are all allowed to build a life that looks ordinary to someone else. I think we are. Maybe we are allowed to build a life for ourselves that's just bleak and ordinary to someone from the outside, but it is extraordinarily ours. It is as unique as our life, and it shows. So to all the expectations I've ever loved before, thank you. Really. Because you were never meant to be mine forever, and it took me this long to realize that. But I don't want to spend my life becoming someone I was told that I should be. And maybe I didn't take too long. Maybe I realized this at the perfect time. That I want to become someone who I recognize when I am alone. Someone whose choices, they make sense when nobody at all is clapping. They make sense to me. And maybe one day I'll get the courage to say it out loud. Well, at least to myself, in the mirror. That everything here, my room, my life, my people, my experiences, this is my life. And the reason it's my life is because I chose this. And I really hope that everyone, and eventually, sooner, much, much sooner than later, gets there and they're happy with the life that they've made because of the fact that they made it. They made it into what it is. And if you don't like it, you can remake it, you can make it into something else. I really hope everyone gets there.